I've had the Stasis build for a little while saved up, even though I don't really love Stasis at the moment, but with the new Stasis changes that were announced when the final shape launches, I thought it would be appropriate to release this build, and I think I'm going to be playing a lot more Stasis when the final shape comes, as it seems really flashed out. This build is really fun, and it can clear ads, and yeah, it's just a blast to play. Starting off with the skills that we're going to be using, we will use Gambler's Dodge, almost always. Withering Blade, we got no choice. We gotta use Glacier Grenades for this build. We'll be using the Shatterdive Aspect and Grim Harvest to create some shards. For the fragments, I like using Whisper of Chains so that we can have some damage reduction when near frozen targets or crystals. But something that I have also considered using before is the Whisper of Bonds. Defeating frozen targets generates an orb of power, which you can do quite often and create extra orbs. So pick your poison on that one. Then we absolutely need Whisper Shards. It gives you more grenade recharge rate when you shatter crystal. Whisper of Fissures increases the damage and the size of the explosion when you break a crystal or shatter an enemy. Whisper of Conduction is just for really making it easier to get the shards that we're creating, because we're using Whisper of Rhyme to give us Overshield. And this is all changing in the final shape because of Frost Armor, but it should still work the same way. But feel free to change Whisper of Conduction if you feel like you don't have any trouble picking up shards. Next, just to touch on the artifact perks, most of them don't do anything for this build, except for Pillar of Ice and Hail the Storm. They just enhance the build, you don't really have to think about them, they just happen in the background. But they just help the build be a little bit stronger. This build will totally work the same way, hopefully, after this season. But now going to the armor. In the helmet, I like painting Ashes to Assets for more super energy, Heavy Ammo Finder, and Harmonic Siphon. Feel free to change this as you like though, as it's not crucial necessarily. In the gauntlets, we're using Grenade Kickstart, and that's a big part of regenerating your grenade as fast as possible. I also use Firepower to create orbs, and Impact Induction so that our melees will give us back grenade energy as well. The chestplate, just resistance mods, feel free to change that up. Then our exotic is Frosties. And to be honest, we could use a different exotic if you can find another one that works better for you. I even thought about Warm Husk, so that when you dodge you heal yourself a little bit, maybe more survivability. But Frosties, if you're running around, you're gonna get grenade, melee, and dodge regeneration, which is just nice to make everything flow. I like using Innervation and Recuperation, so when we pick up an orb we heal and get grenade energy, and stacks on stacks, so we build up our charges faster as well. You could argue that Elemental Charge would be good too, because picking up Stasis Shards will give you a chance, an escalating chance of giving you armor charges, but I prefer the guaranteed stacks. And Honor Cloak, simple double bomber mod, just for more grenade energy. If you feel like you can change this can also be changed. And Powerful Attraction, I always have it on. It just never leaves. Now as for what weapons to use, I recommend a Stasis weapon with Headstone. I was using the sidearm in Onslaught so that I could have anti-barrier sidearm, but Agar's Scepter would be awesome as well, or Aya's Luna with Headstone, anything with Headstone really, but Agar's would be a really good pick. I like using Undercurrent. Waveframes work really well for shattering frozen enemies and crystals, but I like Undercurrent because I have this roll with Demo and Vulture, which is just beautiful. For this build, it also also get healed from Vanguard's Vindication, so this kind of synergizes pretty well, but Forbearance, always a good pick as well. And I was using Dragon's Shadow just to have some damage, because one thing this build lacks is some DPS. So when you find yourself in a boss encounter, you can easily switch to Lucky Pants and put on Warden's Law to do some crazy boss DPS as you pop your super on the boss as well. So the loop for this build is very simple. You throw your grenade, you shatter dive to break the crystals, you use your melee to further slow enemies and to get more grenade energy back from impact induction. You also dodge near enemies to get your melee back and to get energy from bomber. And then you just spam your super. It will be available very often. Kills from your shatter dive count for ashes to acid, so it gives you bonus super. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.